I'm here in the studio with Christine Ashimwe, head and also coordinator of Rwanda Clot Awareness Network that started back in March 2016. Now, when you talk about clot awareness, basically thrombosis, what is it and how do you relate to it?
Thank you very much, Friday, for having me in your studios. Thrombosis in the layman language is more about clotting, blood clotting. There are two types. When blood clots in your lower limbs, like in the legs, that's called deep vein thrombosis in the veins of the lower limbs. And when this clot migrates, or when the clots, they can be many or it can be one, clots and goes up to the lungs or the upper part, that's pulmonary embolism. Yeah, so thrombosis is divided in two parts. And when you combine deep vein thrombosis, which is DVT in abbreviation, and pulmonary embolism, which is PE, then you get venous thromboembolism.
Yes. Now, when you're talking about thrombosis, I recall back then when I was still a kid, when I used to be very stubborn, there are many times I could play football and fall down. And all of a sudden, not go for medication, but, you know, clotting happens naturally. Now, but that was external and it was physical. But how does this clotting happen inside the body, and is it genetic?
Part of the thrombosis is genetic, and the other part is acquired. By acquired, I mean there are so many. You've given an example of how clotting happened when you were young.
And to be honest, that was good. It is good.
Yes,
blood
it's very
clotting
good
is good
for blood clots.
So how is it bad now?
But it becomes bad when blood clots unnecessarily. Like you've, let's say, given birth, and one of the risk factors is actually pregnancy, because pregnancy puts you in a state, in an immobility state, and there are some hormonal changes. And in my case, because I'm one of the survivors of this condition, it's a killer. So blood clots in your veins, and when it clots in your veins, inside where you cannot see, anything can happen. Blood is normally supposed to, flow.
Yes.
But this time, your veins are kind of clogged, and you can't. The blood can't flow very well.
Basically, low blood pressure.
Yeah, and everything has its pros and cons.
Yes.
So, and this is one of the disadvantages of clotting, I may say. Yeah. Clotting is good when you have, a wound has to heal, but then it becomes bad when your blood clots in your veins, and it can't, allow blood, the clots can't allow blood to pass to reach where it should reach in the other organs where it should go.
Now that it seems very involuntary, how can you prevent that?
Well, for this blood clotting that is not hereditary, I may say, which is not genetic, it has risk factors. As I said earlier, pregnancy is one of them. And then you have cases of, let's say, smoking. Smokers are also at risk of having blood clots. Surgery. Surgery is also one of the risk factors. So there are different risk factors, and I can't detail them all out today. Yes. But we are having an awareness day, which is on Saturday, 14th of October. And this will take place at King Faisal Hospital in Kigali, Kachiru, which is close by. And specialists in the field will be explaining all about the condition, because we realized in the network that we don't have that much knowledge. The public doesn't have that much knowledge. It so happens that in the villages, for example, when someone dies of thrombosis, especially postpartum, like, you've just delivered,
yes,
they attribute that to witchcraft or, anything else not related to infection, anything that is not related to the actual...
Now, before we get to the actual day, which I believe is very indispensable when it comes to letting the general public know about thrombosis, how do you relate to this in a sense that you have so much passion talking about thrombosis, and you say you're a survivor, but tell us more about that.
Well, I first had the first incident of clotting, of blood clotting, which actually shocked me, because I had never heard about it.
Yes.
So this was on the 1st of December 2015, and I had just given birth to my baby who is soon turning 2. And we had left the hospital. So I was at home. I did not know anything about it. And all of a sudden, I got a cough. So I started coughing terribly. And then, I had pain in one leg that was very swollen. I had thought maybe because I was pregnant. And, even after delivery, your limbs are kind of still swollen. So I had just left it at that. But when I couldn't breathe, when, I had shortness of breath, chest pain, that terrible cough that couldn't go away with the cough syrup, then I called a doctor. And this doctor advised me to go to the emergency department, the emergency unit of King Faisal. And it's when they did a CT scan that they found these clots in my lungs.
In your lungs. It had gone to your lungs?
Yes, it had left the right leg and gone up to the lungs. And I was put on treatment. Normally when it's already, when it's detected early, treatment is available.
Yes.
And we have specialists in Rwanda who, follow you up to the end of your treatment. Total recovery. So unfortunately, 6 months down the road, I got it again. So that's how actually I developed, the urge. But I had started the network. We co-founded the network with colleagues. I had to look out for, people who had gone through what I went through, and we had to put ourselves together to, raise awareness, sensitize people about it, especially pregnancy being a risk factor, and pregnancy is, something that every woman has to go through. We all, we are all looking forward to have children, and we put ourselves together. But the more pushing effect came when I realized that 4 women had passed away, like 2 weeks after my incident.
So to you, it was more like a survival kind of experience, and you believe from that you can speak, get the light, the torch, carry it with you to raise awareness about thrombosis. Now, thank you very much. Tell us about Saturday now. Who is going to come? Who is welcome to learn more about thrombosis? Does it also affect men as much as women? How does it go?
As I said earlier, the risk factors, cut across both women and men.
Yes.
And I said, smokers are at risk, and surgery. So surgery concerns both women and men. But when you look at, let's say, take an example of contraceptive pills.
Yes.
Even young women take contraceptive pills. But when you're taking contraceptive pills, you're looking at the side of, let's say, family planning, or, you're looking at all the other good effects without knowing that it can cause clots. So all these, I'm just touching,
small bits
here and there. But there are specialists who are going to now, take their time, explain
more about
everything, answer all the questions. We'll be having from 9 a.m. up to 12 p.m. at King Faisal. I take the opportunity to thank our sponsors
and also partners. I'm sure you're working with Ministry of Health.
To begin with, I'm thanking RBA for having us and for spreading the word. King Faisal for receiving us, and which I hold so dear because they have helped us
through the process.
Helped me personally, and Vine Pharmacy, which is going to give treatment. The medication is very expensive, so they are going to give treatment to people, like 2 people for 3 months. So that is very huge for us. Prime Insurance has partnered with us. We have HQ Power, which has supported us. We have Vava Tours. We have Marriott Hotel, which is going to host us for the survivors' dinner. Our network is still, growing. I will not say that it's growing for the good because it's made up of survivors of this condition. But
I do believe it's growing up for the good.
We are opening, our arms to receive everyone who needs support.
Yes.
Because it's something that brings, it affects the health of the individual who gets it. You can't, deliver well like you were before. You kind of deprived of some work, and then the family as well and the society. Your family has to pay the treatment. Some of actually the survivors tell you testimonies and stories of how they had to sell
property,
property,
unable to be treated. Thank you so much, Christine Ashimwe, for this awareness. I've learned a lot personally about thrombosis, and I really hope I'll make it on Saturday to learn more. So thank you, and I hope you have a very successful event as you continue to teach more people about thrombosis and its effects.